One piece of good news, one piece of bad news. Jahmyr Gibbs looking like he's going to be fine. And it's more precautionary than anything. They're being careful with the running back. This is not some severe tear of any kind. We're not even hearing grades issued for this injury. So according to this report, sources say the hamstring injury suffered is not considered significant at all. But the team will be very cautious with him, and he should be ready for week 1 versus the Rams. So that's fantastic news.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
On a much more somber note, this impacts quite a bit, including the value of Justin Jefferson. J.J. McCarthy had successful knee surgery to repair his meniscus. Repair is different than trim. Repair means he's done for the year. Repair means that they went in and it's such a significant healing process. Instead of just trimming off the torn piece, it's better to repair it for the long-term health of the knee. If you think about it, like I've said before on the show, a brake pad, if this meniscus in between the two joints has a little bit of a tear off that you can trim, and it's definitely vulnerable to re-tearing, similar to, like, I give examples of, like, when there's something on your skin here near your nail and you rip it off and it's still there and you keep tearing and tearing and tearing until you absolutely make a mess of your nail. Not that any of you should be biting your damn nails or chewing on your fingers, but you know, it's happened before. I think to everybody. You can think of trimming meniscus in that fashion, that you can cut it just perfect, or you could keep ripping and tearing and snagging it. With a repair, they're trying not to take anything off necessarily, and it causes it's a whole bigger healing process. So J.J. McCarthy is done for the season. What's that mean for Justin Jefferson? Darnold's now a starting quarterback, for better or for worse. And do the Vikings have multiple quarterbacks throughout the year? Is Darnold gonna last? Is Darnold gonna get benched? Is Darnold gonna do well? He has nothing, he has no looking over his shoulder anymore. We'll find out. We're talking about McCarthy, JJ, Aaron Jones related to that, Addison suspension, and then related to this, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Thank goodness about Jahmyr Gibbs.
Mashed potatoes!
Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Have I ever explained to you guys why Jahmyr Gibbs is good? But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megavolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. Great news on the Jahmyr Gibbs front. Great news. There's nothing to be concerned about right now. Now, anything can happen with hamstring injuries and quad injuries and calf injuries and any soft tissue injury. There's certainly some sort of risk level of, okay, what's going on with it, even though there's no 2-grade tear or anything like that. You still are wondering, does it come back? But I'm not worried about it. This seems to be, hey, I got a little tightness, coach. Okay, let's go evaluate it. They go in, they evaluate it. Okay, leg injury, they don't even know what it is because it's not significant on the field, right? There's no, oh my God, it pulled my hammy. Let's cart him to the locker room. That's why I said yesterday, everybody needs to pump the brakes, because when a player injures themselves on the field, you know it. You know what it likely is. Look like a knee. Look like a whatever. He got carted. It looks pretty bad. But when you have something where it's like he's being evaluated with a leg injury, we're not sure what it is, that signifies usually that it's something minor. They're looking into it, and it's nothing you could even identify on the field, like nothing happened. So we knew that there was a very strong possibility that this was an overreaction by the fantasy industry. We knew that you could potentially steal him away, Jahmyr Gibbs, in round 2 for a little bit of time, and you still may, because some people just won't trust this and be like, hey, he's injured. You know, and a lot of people lump injuries together over and over and over, and you hear a bunch of, I would say not experienced analysts say something like, oh, hamstrings linger, or you heard people say ACLs take a year, full year to recover. These are all case-by-case situations, and if anybody's telling you blanket advice like that, they either A, don't know ball, or B, they aren't versed on injury. Maybe they know ball, but they're not versed on injury. Every single situation is a case-by-case type of situation, and you need to look at each injury individually. There's so many different moving parts and components to an injury, and especially an ACL injury, where you have Breece Hall, younger, ahead of schedule, coming back, and your boy said this is a man you invest in first year back from an ACL tear. Players that were behind schedule, even the great Saquon Barkley, were a complete avoid, and you could see it coming from a mile away. Injuries are not interchangeable, or you can't just say, let me transfer that information from that year and how that injury worked out to this player over here. And just because someone has tightness in the hamstring doesn't mean they have a grade 1 or really even a grade 1 or a grade 2 tear or something in between. Sometimes it is, hey, his hamstring's a little tight, let's have him sit out, and that's apparently what the Jahmyr Gibbs situation is. So McCarthy, though, we knew this is a possibility yesterday, especially when Schefter, I think, is the one that came out and said, look, if he does end up having to have the procedure, he'll be done for the year. And there was thought that it would probably be, 50-50, that it would be a trim or be a repair. The reason you could kind of tell that there was, some strong chance, at least 50-50, that it was going to be a repair and not just a simple trim, is that he was very uncomfortable. When you have a knee that is just not working right, like, there's something in the way, even sometimes a floating body, part of some piece of bone that breaks off or whatever gets caught inside the knee joint, you can tell when something's off on the knee and it just doesn't feel right. And while there's definitely still a possibility that this thing doesn't exactly turn out to be something that lingers in the future, it very much could have if they didn't do the repair. So the repair was needed in order to protect his future, but it certainly kicks Justin Jefferson's value in the nutsack, because Sam Darnold has proven nothing. For how long now? We keep hearing about the marvelous Sam Darnold. We heard Matt Maiocco, the 49ers Golden Boy beat reporter, say that Darnold throws the best football. Not the best thrower. Okay, let me just make sure I'm very clear and accurate with what he said. Give him his fair assessment here. That Darnold is the best football thrower. He throws the best ball out of anybody in 49ers history. That means Joe Montana, Steve Young. What are you saying? These guys, they got the job done, but they threw a lame duck. So Sam Darnold, the Niners Golden Boy, who the Niner fans don't even believe in now that he's gone, goes over to Minnesota, and he's supposed to revive his career when we haven't seen him for a while. He's been dormant. He's been dormant like the what's the thing that goes dormant every year? He's been sitting there in a cave, dormant for how long? I mean, when's the last time we saw Darnold do anything of significance? Like, this is a guy I didn't believe in at all walking into his rookie year. Coming out of college, he had so much hype, and I just did not see it. I felt like this guy was going to be an absolute bust. Not a bear. What's the other animal that goes dormant for a longer period of time? I forget the freaking name. But you could use a bear if you want. He goes dormant like a bear. But he's not going to come out of a cave like a bear, swinging, throwing, looking like a monster. Darnold is not it. Darnold is not it. He's not it. I don't. Is it groundhog? Is it groundhog? Yeah, comes out at once a year. Like he reminds me of a groundhog. I know what a bear is. A sloth? Maybe he is a sloth. I don't know. But it's like Groundhog's Day. Okay, here comes Sam Darnold. Let's see what where his shadow is. Maybe JJ's value could be in the realm of possibilities that range from 1,400 receiving yards, maybe 1,500 if we're lucky, which is a damn good year, with maybe 90 to 100 receptions. But where are his touchdowns? I don't know. I think that's his ceiling. His max value would be something along the lines of I want to say 1,400 yards. I don't want to say 1,500 yards. 1,400 yards, 90 receptions, maybe 100 receptions, and then 5 or 6 touchdowns, maybe. I don't know. Not saying that isn't good. Not saying he can't do something very significant, something that makes me still want to draft him in round 1. But he has no shot at being a 10, 12, 14 touchdown wide receiver. He barely could do a 10 touchdown season under the command of Kirk Cousins. Darnold's not going to get this offense in the red zone enough, in my opinion, to get JJ the amount of touchdown volume or opportunities and targets in the touchdown scenarios. How is he going to get him 15 touchdowns? How is he going to get him double-digit touchdowns? I think we're just probably looking. We're probably looking at 1,400 yards in a best-case scenario. This is an 1,800-yard receiver, mind you. You might say, Smitty, that's fine. That sounds great. It does sound great because JJ's that good. Like, he could get you 2,000 yards receiving in a great offense with a great quarterback. So it's not great that he's doing 1,400 yards. We're getting a discounted JJ. So 1,400 yards, still a great yardage season for most receivers. Maybe 90 to 100 receptions if we're lucky. And they'll be down a lot, so they will be throwing a lot. But here's the rub. And here's where the risk lies. If you have JJ carrying this team, and this is what I have a big fear about with Neighbors too. JJ and Neighbors. Bad teams, down a lot, throwing the football, hospital ball city. Here's a hospital ball. Here's a hospital ball. The likelihood of an injury for JJ and Neighbors is significantly higher in their current situations than if they had good quarterbacks and good offenses. Why? Because JJ will be putting the team on his back constantly. Repetition, catching hospital balls, trying to do too much, getting oversaturated in the third and fourth quarter, overfed in the third and fourth quarter, wearing down, getting exhausted, making mistakes, body breaks down on certain cuts, and you're just tired and exhausted, and your body breaks down and you injure yourself because you're compensating or you catch your toe in the turf or whatever the case may be. The likelihood of injury goes up significantly. I said this with Josh Jacobs last year and Davante Adams. And I say it again for Davante Adams this year, especially being older. When you're asked to take a whole bunch of the responsibility and burden on your shoulders for an entire 17 games, usually you don't make it through 17 games. So my bigger concern for JJ is getting injured now. You may say, Smitty, that's a weird assessment and that's a weird guesstimation. You can think whatever you want. Exactly what I said would happen to Jacobs last year happened to a T. Exactly what I predicted to happen with Davante Adams last year it occurred to a T. That Adams would get frustrated. That Jimmy Garoppolo would be throwing hospital balls to Davante Adams and he'd get frustrated. That Davante Adams or Jacobs or both, one of them would be injured at the end of the year because they're just damn tired of trying to carry a bad team on their back and fight for nothing. The Vikings will be fighting for nothing. The Vikings cannot be a playoff contender. And it's just a tough situation. And the North has been struck with some bad news with Jahmyr Gibbs, and then that became good news today. It's certainly not good that Jahmyr Gibbs is sitting out at all, but we got great, revised news today. But the Vikings aren't going to have a shot. The Vikings are going to be a bad team. At some point, JJ is going to need to take some time off during the season. He is going to be exhausted. So my bigger concern is, no matter what, are you getting 17 games out of JJ? I don't know that you are. I don't know that you are. I think similar to what I said about Jacobs last year is he either shuts himself down or he has some sort of injury because he's getting overworked. Either way, I see JJ not playing a full season. That's just my guesstimation. It's a lot of moving parts, and I get the risk level of trying to throw something out and predict injury or that situation to unfold, but predicted it exactly to a T with the Raiders situation. Something I feel, again, is very much in the cards for Davante Adams if he doesn't get traded. And he might just get traded. If the Raiders start off as bad as I think they can, Davante Adams might be a New York Jet. And then we have some concerns about mother freaking Garrett Wilson's value. And I get that. And it's hard to be preemptive about that because we're talking about a speculative trade. The Raiders might have zero interest in trading Davante Adams when the time comes, but it's certainly something that we hear about. But just because Aaron Rodgers wants it, just because the New York Jets want it because Aaron Rodgers wants it, just because fans kind of want it, doesn't mean that Pierce or anybody in that organization is going to be like, yeah, let's just give everybody what they want. You want Adams? Here he is on a silver platter. What will you give us in return? What's your best offer? Just send it on over. It doesn't really work like that, so it's hard to draft like that. Hard to prepare like that. But as for JJ, I don't know that I can take him at his current ADP. Do I think I could let him slip past 12, 13 turn? I don't, right now I don't think I could, but we'll have to take it as it comes. I've got to be on the clock to really give you that assessment. I can pretend to know now. You can pretend to know now. We can all pretend to know now. But at the end of the day, we don't have a clue. We don't have a clue as to where we're going to draft JJ when push comes to shove until the time comes. That is just how it works. And there's many times where I say to people, hey, I like this guy here. I get on the clock that night in a draft on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, where we draft. And if you want to draft with us at midnights, hit this link right now. Code Smitty gets it done. But the link, for those of you that just want to click the link and be lazy about it, just smash the link right now. Hit that link. They'll match up to 50% on your first deposit. But when we draft at midnight and we sit there and we go, you know, I'm liking this value here more than I thought. Or, hey, I don't like the value here as much as I thought I would. I think I'm going to kick JJ down to 14. Because at the end of the day, you got guys like Breece Hall who slipped to the 9, 10, 11, 12. You got guys like Jahmyr Gibbs who are falling to the 12, 13, 14 because of the potential scare and injury. So does Jahmyr Gibbs become a better risk to take than JJ now that we have good news about Jahmyr Gibbs? Because now Jahmyr Gibbs is looking like he's going to be fine. This is a fantastic thing. Don't worry about Jahmyr Gibbs at this point. Draft him accordingly, and everything's going to be okay. Can I give you... we got the little one here today. Can I guarantee you some more Gummy Bears? How many Gummy Bears do you require for another 10 minutes? 5 Gummy Bears? Okay, close that door. I'll give you 5 Gummy Bears. You give me 5. You give me 5, 10 minutes, little Smitty. You give me... Let's see, little Smitty.
Where's your mashed potatoes?
You hurt your tummy? Okay. Okay. I'll come out and I'll give you... Will 5 Gummy Bears fix it? 5? 7? Deal. Done deal. Don't tell your mother. Okay, close that door. Exit. Give me 5 minutes. I'll give you 7 Gummy Bears. And I come work for you.
Can I wait in your bed?
You can wait in the bed. Yes. All right.
Where's your mashed potatoes?
This is how real life works, ladies and gentlemen. This is how real life works. I'll give you 7 Gummy Bears, and I come work for you.
Where's your mashed potatoes?
Someday, little Smitty, both little Smitties might be running this operation. I know she could have got 10. Don't tell her. Don't tell her. We're still leaving a little room for maneuvering later. Oh, no. Yeah, hold on.
The camera, look at me.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine. Okay. Okay, why don't we go back in bed and I'll give you 8 gummy bears. 8 gummy bears. Close the door. 8 gummy bears. 8 gummy bears.
I have to call.
I know you do. Just go watch Bluey. Go turn on Bluey. Go. We got it. 8 gummy bears. I promise. 8 gummy bears. Okay, don't go in the living room. All right. We might have less time than I thought, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think this is gonna work. We'll see if we can get away with it. I think we can get about 4 more minutes, maybe at the most. Let's go over to these super chats real quick. Orion says Gibbs is back on the menu. He certainly is. Gibbs is back on the menu, no doubt about it. Appreciate you dropping that super chat. Chris coming in strong with the rate my team. Hang tight for me, Eddie. If you mute yourself real quick, I'll come for you in 1 second. Rate my 10 team 2 flex PPR. Let's see. Bijan, Mixon, Marvin, Harrison, Josh Allen, Waddle, Kincaid, Kirk. It's a good squad. I like it. I'm not a huge Mixon fan myself. I love Bijan, love Josh Allen, love Marvin. Waddle's fantastic, and Kincaid with that the value you got with all those guys. I just would have drafted a different player than Mixon. I'm going to give you a 7.8. Would give you a more like an 8.5. I think if there was a better player there. Mixon. I saw drop off. I would look to maybe move him. I don't know that he's going to stay healthy. Great situation, but just not sure he's there anymore. He has no explosiveness left at all. Hey, Smitty, who would you take over Tank in the early 4th round? Not very many people, my guy, in the early 4th round. If you took Josh Allen in round 3, and let's say you went RB, my guy. Let's go ahead and look at the board real quick. Let's say you went RB. Let's try and pull up this draft board if it'll even work for me. There we go. Let's say you went Kyren and Bijan, okay? And you're saying you're going to go Josh Allen at this 3 pick. So if I could find Josh Allen somewhere, that would be great. Josh Allen, please report to the front stage. Josh Allen, please report to the front stage. I don't know if I have a Josh Allen. Let's use some text on this one because I don't want to waste any time because we're about 4 gummy bears short of another 10 minutes. So Josh Allen in round 3. This is probably my favorite wide receiver 1 to grab in round 4 with a tripod approach. What's a tripod approach, Smitty? I've never heard of that before.
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round 1 running backs and one of these running backs in round 2. The tripod.
So if you end up going the tripod approach and you go running back, Allen, which is fantastic, and I'm not scared of it at all. If you're scared of this, I don't know what you're looking at. I don't know why you even play fantasy football. If you're scared of going RB, Josh Allen, why are you playing fantasy football? Why aren't you playing like Pokemon or something? Why don't you play something safer? Why don't you go play Roblox or whatever the hell that game's called? Why don't you play something that's safe, like a safe Sally? Why don't you go do something that doesn't make you petrified or worried, a worried William? This is for ballers. Okay, you got to be able to land your wide receivers. I'm not even afraid to go with what you see on your screen right now, which is a Bijan, a Kyren, a Josh Allen, a Tank Dell. I'll even go Kincaid before I go another wide receiver because I've got balls of steel. And I'll grab these assortment of Green Bay Packer wide receivers. In best ball, I grab Love too because I love the Substack of that. But you could grab this and I'm fine with this. You can be scared of it. I'm not going to be scared of it. I'm going to ball with it. And you can watch, and you can get a coffee at mid-season when I require a coffee if you're complaining about my strategy. Viral, appreciate you. Hey, Smitty, would you take over Tank? Okay, so yeah, thank you for that question. Great question, too. Because I think Tank Dell is a fantastic player. Who would I take over him? I don't know. You could contemplate DK, Cooper Kupp, but Cooper Kupp's going way higher than that now. But honestly, Tank Dell's my favorite right there. $5 hauler. My Sam Darnold shares I got laughed at 4-20 in the 210s are looking pretty. What though, Justin? What are they looking? I mean, I don't know. Like maybe the super flex, they're looking okay, 210s, but I wouldn't draft Sam Darnold now in the 210s in a 1 QB. There's just aren't QBs in the last round that are, yeah, but I'm drafting QBs before that. I'm not leaving my backup quarterback fate to the 210s. So I would say hell no. But if it's super flex, maybe, Justin. But I'm not thinking that this ups the value of Sam Darnold to me. He was already starting. Like, let me put it this way, Justin. If he's so good anyway, this changed nothing. Like, his shares what? Like, he would have to go out and play bad to lose the job because he was going to go out and start. And if he was going to lose the job to J.J. McCarthy playing well, then he wasn't playing well enough. Okay, it's about to be Darnold being good or even solid. You get him for free. I disagree. I love you, pal, but I disagree. I want nothing to do with Darnold. But, you know, trust your gut on that one. Ray G says, just drafted Bijan, Gibbs, and Achane. That's what I'm talking about, Ray G. Putting your balls of steel on the table. Go 3 RBs. Don't listen to anybody. I love it. And I Smitty, mother freaking approve it. And L with a $10 super chat, $10 haulers. Get moonshots.
To the moon.
Moonshots. I'm coming for you, Eddie. Don't hang up. I'm almost there. I'm going to play one video clip, and then I'm coming for you, Eddie. So hang tight. Keep muted for me, though. I'll be right there. Hey, Smitty, I'm not concerned about Gibbs, but what would you trade Gibbs away for? Kyren plus Ayuk in the Dynasty League? If you had Corum, yes. Because it's not that I think Corum will take his job. Just it gives you the safest running back situation, and they're both young players. They're 3 months apart, so Kyren's not an old man. But I would take Kyren and Ayuk with Corum if you had Corum. If you don't have Corum, I don't like it as much. Gibbs is still a top 4 or 5 overall player. Don't let this injury at all, especially given the good news today, scare you away from Dynasty top 4 overall value out of Gibbs. Kyren's still drafted in the round 2 in redraft, so you can imagine in Dynasty, he's not getting drafted in round 1. He's at least getting drafted in the same round or later in Dynasty because people are more scared of his situation. So you're not getting enough value if you're going to try and potentially, go get Kyren, then you should be getting even more, I think, in a Dynasty. Also, if Ayuk goes to the Steelers versus staying in San Francisco now, how much does it sway the trade? I think it doesn't sway it at all. I think going to Pittsburgh's not better statistically. It's good for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I don't think it's great. But here we go. Let me show you a little Kyren clip.
He's Kyren. He's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyren. He can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Achane. Achane is the man. His haters call him small.
But he is 9 feet tall.
Achane is the man.
Okay, Eddie, I'm sorry about the wait. Eddie, what can I do for you?
So what do you think about, the whole league that I was talking about where all the round 1 running backs are being kept? Where are we taking Jettis here? Like, is he outside the top 5 for receivers?
It's such a tough thing to digest right this very second, bro. I'd probably say, let me put this on the screen so people know what the topic is. I'd probably say, let's work through it. I mean, number 1 in Dynasty, it's got to be probably CeeDee Lamb, I guess. And this is Dynasty we're talking, right?
Just one keeper redraft.
Okay, so redraft. JJ in redraft. Let me put this on screen here. JJ in redraft. Okay, so we got Tyreek Hill is 1 in redraft. CeeDee Lamb is 2. Jamar Chase probably at 3. St. Brown ahead of JJ for sure at this stage in the game. I mean, you got to assume, like, think about it logically. Like, how many yards is JJ going to get? He can't get 1,800, 2,000. We're talking about maybe somehow, some way he scrapes by with 14, which would be amazing. It'd be remarkable, to be honest with you. But I don't think he's going to have remotely close to the touchdown number he needs, and I don't think the receptions are going to be what we want. So St. Brown's going to have 1,400, 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns minimum. Like, let's call it 1,412 minimum. Like, and you're that's probably where you're hoping JJ lands. So St. Brown above him. AJ Brown in an offense that produced top 3 wide receiver numbers for Keenan Allen last year. AJ Brown, how can you not want AJ Brown over JJ right now? And then you get to Garrett Wilson, Puka, Marvin Harrison, Drake London, Deebo Samuel, and then you're like, okay, this is probably where we say there's risk for every one of those players. Garrett Wilson, there's risk of Adams being traded midseason. There's risk of Aaron Rodgers staying healthy, being healthy. But I still think you could make a strong case that Garrett Wilson's better than JJ right now. Very, very much. Puka Nacua, you've got the injury, but if he's healthy, you can make a very strong case that Puka Nacua is safer than JJ right now. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receivers ahead of JJ maybe. That's crazy. You could also very much make a case that he's still worth taking over Garrett Wilson, over Puka Nacua, and over AJ Brown. But I don't think you can make a case over CeeDee Lamb, Hill, Chase, and Amon-Ra. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So highest I could even envision him, or Smitty approve, is 5. And that's if you're having him above AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Puka. So tough to say, bro. The thing is, he's JJ. Like, and we've seen him, unlike Garrett Wilson, we've seen him produce in the Vikings offense with the carousel of quarterbacks, and he still delivered. Whereas Garrett Wilson didn't. Garrett Wilson was in a traumatic situation. It was such a nightmare. Such a nightmare. It felt so limiting. At least JJ was flying around the field, and Garrett Wilson, it was just so tough. I would say safe place to rank him is probably below AJ Brown and maybe below Garrett Wilson. That means he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's wide receiver 7. That's really hard to stomach. Let's write that out and see how that looks, because that feels awful. So Lamb, Hill, this is redraft. Lamb, Hill, Chase, Amon-Ra, so St. Brown, AJB, and G. Willie. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is JJ 7. Let's see what the chat thinks. Is JJ 7, or do you have Puka ahead of him? Does anybody have more than Puka ahead? Does somebody have like MHJ or Debo? If Ayuk is traded, is Debo going to outscore JJ? If Ayuk is traded, he might. It's not that we don't love JJ, but we got to be careful in expecting anything close to 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. I don't know if it's possible. I think this is a very safe ranking for JJ. You've got, like I said, you've got Puka below him, but I think that if Puka is going to be healthy for week 1, which it sounds like he will, then he's probably going to be above JJ. I don't know. This is tough. You know what this makes me want to say, though? At the end of the day, doesn't really matter. I'm not taking him. I like JJ, but I think in my best ball drafts, I'm no longer taking him. I think if you're on the clock at 7, 8, 9, 10, and he keeps falling, guess what you do? You go RB. Especially in best ball, you're going to get Breece Hall. You know, I'm taking Gibbs with the news today over JJ. I'm taking Kyren in home leagues over JJ. In best ball, he goes in round 2, so we don't need to do that. We have to be careful not to do that. So you need to know where you're drafting in your environment. But do I like Kyren over JJ in a home league, in a non-best ball? Bet your bottom dollar I do. Do I like Achane maybe over JJ in a home league, non-best ball? Look, I'm afraid to say. I'm afraid to lose followers. I love Achane. I love Achane, bro. I love him. All right. Anything else, Eddie? Hopefully that helped you.
No, yeah, definitely did. Yeah, I have my brother here. He's same league, keeping Bijan at the 111. He's in a route where he maybe want to go MHJ. I've tried to tell him about Kyren, even though he's in my league. But what do you think? He should. I mean, it's really up to the clock to see what.
MHJ over JJ.
I'd say more so in the realm of like he likes MHJ. He likes Kyren. He's even like, I want to get Hurts, which is obviously a little early, but he picked him at the one.
You tell him I said take Kyren, just cuff him to Corum, and you're good. I mean, you're talking about Kyren. I don't understand why Kyren isn't a top 5 pick. I mean, I get the arguments people are throwing at me, but they're BS and they're not strong. Kyren deserves to be a top 5 overall pick. Don't take him there. You don't need to. This is great news. This is a blessing in disguise. But I'm laughing at everybody that thinks Kyren's not a top 5 pick. I'm laughing. I've got a big smile on my face, and I'll get a lot of coffee. People are going to get me a lot of coffee by the end of the season. This is and I don't want to hear it later. Oh, Smitty, Corum's starting 3 games. I told you. You didn't tell us. You didn't tell us. You didn't tell me. This is the number 1 cuff in fantasy. We told you. This is the best cuff in fantasy. And I realize Kyren runs so hard he might miss 2 or 3 games. That's why we got Corum. That's why it's the best cuff in fantasy. But it's a top 1 to 5 running back combined together. So you tell your brother, you take Kyren with a smile, but you make sure you cuff him at all costs. And if he misses the cuff, I'm taking away his Bijan card.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
All right.
Doesn't want that after.
Yeah, no one wants that. All right, I got to go, bro. Appreciate you. Later. Arthur says, Smitty, start Marvin Harrison, Higgins, or Olave at wide receiver 2. Give me MHJ. Olave's volatile, very volatile situation. Feels very much like DJ Moore pre-Justin Fields. We just don't know what we're going to get. We're not getting the best out of Olave. We won't all year long, unfortunately. Unless Rattler comes out of nowhere, and he could. Higgins I like, but he's going to be spotty. I do like him, though. He's not bad. But Harrison is a top 10 wide receiver in my mind, and he's going to ball out. I love Harrison. Rock Out says, underdog draft, I went Bijan, Kyren, Pacheco. I don't like that, Rock Out. I love it.
Mashed potatoes. Yeah, buddy.
That's what I'm talking about. Rock Out. All right, I don't think Little Smitty's going to give me much more time. I think we're done. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you all being here. If you're new, subscribe. Again, in recap, JJ dropped significantly. Jahmyr Gibbs news, positive. Okay, very good news. Not a significant injury. Campbell even said he's going to be fine. And every expectation is he'll be, as this report says, cautious and rest and rehab to make sure he's 100%. So he's going to rehab it, which is always good. You rehab these things versus just take time off. You're increasing the odds of having it not come back. He's rehabbing. Rehabbing it means you're strengthening it. You know, you're actually going through motions. You're on the bike. You're doing exercises. You're moving. You're not staying stagnant and letting it, fester and wonder, is it going to be better? Is it going to get better? What if I go out and cut? You're actually cutting in rehab. You're doing things in rehab. You're doing band work. So the fact that he's going to be doing all of this movement, rehabbing it, and expected to be 100%, this is fantastic news. Draft Gibbs with a smile if he falls to the 1-2 turn, or especially if he falls into round number 2. And again, on the McCarthy front, McCarthy done for the season with the repair meniscus instead of the trimming, and he's out for the year, which means Sam Darnold is a starting quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, which is bad for everybody involved. Darnold is not going to be a savior whatsoever. I'm sorry, Justin. I know Justin loves Darnold. I don't know why you love him, though, Justin. I don't. I think the only argument you could have is, well, I just think that, like, I could see the argument now, Justin. I can see it. I just think that, like, you know, it's JJ and he's there and he's got no competition. It's late in the draft. Like, I can hear it right now, Justin. I can hear your voice. And I love Justin. I hope Justin's not taking this the wrong way. But I can hear your phone call now. He's going late in the draft. I mean, it's just like, why not? You know, it's like the 200s. Why not take a chance? I'm not taking chances on my quarterback. I'm not taking chances on my backup quarterback. My backup quarterback is going to be a baller. And do it live. I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Additionally, I'm live when big news breaks. Appreciate every single one of you. Now go get lammed.
Get lammed.
Gummy Bears coming right up. How about 10 Gummy Bears?
Want it. 'Cause they want it. Dead or alive. Want it.